I know I said I'm gonna make a marathon video on Tuesday so we can see Monday's numbers, but boys, I could just not help myself, okay? Because these numbers, these Saturday and Sunday reports have been absolutely marvelous. Marathon is self-destructing so fast it's absolutely hilarious. And a lot of other more interesting stuff, like the fact that some people cannot stop lying about Marathon being a success. The only success is the fact that it's taking this long for it to die, but it was never truly successful. Remember, the bare minimum estimates for Marathon, if we believe lying Bungie, because all of the big gaming companies lie about their budgets for gaming. I mean, well, the numbers just don't add up if you have not noticed this. Every game company is gonna tell you, oh, our game actually only costed 100 million to make. Yeah. 150 maybe highest. Assassin's Creed Shadows by Yves Guillemot, the guy who is the CEO and owner of Ubisoft, said that Assassin's Creed Shadows officially was 116 million to make. That's pennies on the dollar for a AAA company. It just doesn't make sense. If all of these AAA games costed only 100 million to make, then we would never hear about BioWare going out of business. Bungie would not have been signing a devil's deal with Sony. You know, all of these things. Ubisoft being in absolute debt and in need of restructuring. None of these things would be real if the games actually costed 100 million to make. No. I think that these games cost, every AAA game costs at the bare minimum 300 million to make it nowadays. And some of them go up to, well, you know, I think Assassin's Creed Shadows, for example, probably was 700 million to make. The amount of stuff they needed to redesign, the absolute everything, and Ubisoft's desperation in general. I think it was insanely expensive to make. And Marathon, I think Marathon was also probably 300 million. Even the lowest estimates put it at 200 million in development costs. And Marathon has officially sold like, what, 1.2 million copies? Which is literally nothing. Pennies on the dollar. $60 a pop, minus Steam's 30%. That's 55 million roughly, rounding up. 55 million? Yeah, Bungie's never recuperating those losses, especially with their microtransactions looking like shit in this game. We have never talked about it, but all of the microtransactions, there's the reason you don't see anyone using skins in this game when you see clips of it, because it all looks like ass. But in any case, we all knew that Marathon was never a success to begin with. It was supposed to replace Destiny, and my god, it did a shitty job at that. Whew. But now we have, boys, look at this. This is the Sunday numbers. On a Sunday, typically the highest amount, the highest player peak. Look at Crimson Desert. Look at this. This is the Sunday's peak. We talked about this. 276k. Massive increase over Saturday and massive increase over Friday. And yet, Marathon has never delivered this. Now, previously, granted in all of our previous experience, Sunday at least was pretty decent. Friday was the big one, and then Saturday was the really big one. And Sunday was kind of like a tapering. But now Sunday's a massive drop. Look at this shit. What the hell is even happening here? And again, Marathon has this strange situation with the peaks. Look at this. You can see two peaks. One is here, the other one is here. Okay, this is at 10 p.m. for Automated Bros, and this is at 3 a.m. for Automated Bros. And then you just suddenly see a switch. Suddenly 8 p.m. is the peak on a Sunday. It's completely nonsensical, Wild. Okay, and you can say, oh, not the next day is Monday and it's a work day, but that doesn't actually check out because the same situation, because the same times have always been the most relevant ones. It doesn't matter if it's Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, or whatever. But here it just doesn't exist, which is wild. And this is stably under 40k, by the way, which is insane. Absolutely insane. And you know what's the more insane statistic? I know some of you already know what we're looking at here. Some of you already know how they analyze these things. And some of you are probably already looking at this. Actually, I should refresh this because we have a little bit more data. And you're probably thinking, what is the 10 a.m. statistic? Well, it's currently Monday and it's 11.4k. Oof, that is not good. What was it on Sunday? Ooh, 17.5. On Saturday? Ooh, 16.4. Friday. 13k. This Monday drop is gonna be massive, bros. This Monday drop could actually push us into 35k. I don't think it's gonna happen because Marathon hasn't really shown such signs of fluctuation. But it's typically around 10%, the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario so far has been actually 15% 2 times in a row. So 15 times from 40k would be actually 34k. I don't believe that. I think 36k is reasonable. Maybe something wild happens and it's a 20% swing, but again, it's hard to believe. But man, judging by this number, man, this is diabolical shit right there. This is literally 1/3 weaker than anything else that we have seen here. This is horrible. If you're Bungie and you're currently thinking about how your players are going to peak, because they're following this, and if you're following real life, if you're an analyst at Bungie, you're like probably, holy shit, this looks bad. This is devastation. Everyone knew that Marathon is not going to make it, but I mean, it's just... It really feels like there's a group of people playing Marathon who are just desperately trying to keep it alive, but every week the burnout just fucking happens and people are done with it. There's also a lot of people who are just lying about Marathon, like for example this. Marathon across all platforms, 478k peak, 345k plus daily. Marathon is more than fine. Yeah, it's more than fine. And why can't I find any clips about Marathon? You know, why are there no viral posts about Marathon? Why is none of that happening? Why is the most viral thing something, for example, like this, that there's not enough game content? Why is that? Oh boy. And I absolutely love this because it's Marathon is more than fine. LOL people only using Steam. Like, this is a lie. This is hilarious. And even the people who play Marathon, or at least, you know, allegedly play Marathon, like this post right here, while I love Marathon more than anyone, and I have close to 160 hours in now, but they already said that the majority of the player base is on Steam. True, yes, they said it. Okay? Everyone knows now the fact that the 80% of the, no, 70%? 70% of the player base of Marathon is on Steam. It's on Steam. It's on Steam. So, all of this is bullshit. I don't understand why these people keep trying to lie and push this useless narrative that no one believes, first of all. Second of all, people who know it's a lie. But yeah, it's absolutely insane that they're trying to push this. And the comments here are pretty funny because everyone knows it's a lie and they just keep calling out. There was the situation where we now know that there are Discord channels where, you know, people get paid for posting Marathon good posts, so maybe this is just one of them, and I don't know, that's kind of it. But it's kind of funny. Hilarious Marathon review on Steam, 254 hours, whip with all factions, there is nothing to do, bro needs to touch grass. Kind of funny, kind of funny that you have played 250 hours and complaining that there's nothing to do after doing everything, which is not even close to normal people levels of doing things. But at the same time, this was never a problem for our creators. You know why? Because the game, our creators created stories in itself on what happened. You had the whole server coming together to do a thing and things like that. The memes were ginormous. In Marathon, none of that happens. So the truth is, when you do all of the, quests and thingamajigs, I don't even know what the fucking faction VIP is. But when you do all of this, there's nothing left in Marathon. You're just shooting other people and calling it a day for loot that you probably already have or probably have better. That's the reality of Marathon. So, as wild as it does sound for someone with 250 hours who has done everything in the game to hate it, it's actually a legit criticism because the game should have more stuff. It doesn't have the organic fun factor of just playing the game like our creators have. Not a lot of posts going on, as I stated previously. Every post about Marathon is old at this point. I mean, there are some stuffs that's getting interactions like this. How the fuck is it even getting interactions? I honestly don't know. But at the same time, again, I don't think it matters. And to top it all off, I think I'll leave Odds to Cross with his absolutely bonkers opinions about Marathon as always.
Arc Raiders was a fun game, and I think it was a great game to pop my extraction shooter cherry. It was great, you know what I mean? At first, you just want to be loved. But now I just want to be fucked. And no game has fucked me quite like Marathon.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's losing his mind exactly or what is happening here, but it is what it is, boys. Marathon, a slow and steady decline, which is creating generational wealth for me. Thank you, Marathon. At least someone made money off your existence. And it definitely wasn't you yourself, it was me. Anyway, thanks for watching. Maybe still a Marathon video tomorrow, depending on how miserable this this number is gonna be. And boys, I hope it's fucking miserable, because again, it looks just ass. Look at this 12 14. Oh man, that's a 33% drop. Oof. Anyway, bye.